I want to highlight a few things. One, I want to say a few words about the Arsht Cannon Fund. Adrienne Arsht had hoped to join us today, but was unable to join us, but she sends her best regards. So I want to take a moment also to acknowledge some of the other Arsht Cannon players. And it has to start with Chris Cannon. And those of you who come to these events regularly, you've heard me talk about Chris regularly and Arsht Cannon regularly. But the architect and designer of the work, Adrienne and the advisory committee were part of it, but the architect and designer of that work was Dr. Christine Cannon. And for over 15 years, she's developed it and built Arsht Cannon to support the Latino communities, when in the early days, nobody else in the state really paid that much attention. And that was Chris, and that she's indefatigable in her work and has really made a huge difference in the state. And we're honored to have her have been part of this operation. And Chris is right here, and I just want to. And it's also a very momentous year in that Chris is finishing her stint leading the Arsht Cannon work. And Dr. Jen Fuqua, sitting right next to her there, some of you know Jen, is going to be working with her and with the advisory committee. And the the reformed advisory committee is also here today. Wendy Stabler, I believe, is back here, and Gil Sparks, and Bill Lafferty. And so those folks with Jen, with the DCF staff, with Chris, with Adrienne are going to keep this work going. And indeed, they have just finished a round of grants of $570,000. So not a bad thing. I'm not going to talk right now. Well, I'm going to say a word about Fund for Women. How many people are founders here? How many people are Fund for Women founders? Yeah, there's a lot of folks. That's an impressive thing. And over all this time, and they said 1,000 donors. I know I was number 2,000, and I think they're up to 2,500, 2,600 at this point, and $250,000 a year going out of that. And I want to say now also, though, a word about the state parks. We are in one of the state parks' awesome facilities. It is a truly unique program we have. I was just checking with these guys before the meeting. I don't know any other state that has something quite like this, with all of these funds that allow the state parks to do strategic work and get the chairs that we talked about, even in downtimes, even when the state budget isn't always there. And so with us is Matt Ritter, the relatively new director of state parks. And Greg Abbott, who you also saw. And then in 2 weeks, if you want to do this again, we're going to be at one of the other state parks down in the southern part of the state. So congratulations to all these folks. 20 years, 25 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years. This is the kind of thing we're trying to do all the time. So before I share a few words about how we're thinking about these difficult times, I want to point out a few other highlights. I'm going to start with our scholarship programs. Many of you, or some of you, will remember that a year ago we were bragging that for the first time ever we gave out more than $650,000 in scholarships, which is amazing. Well, this year we gave out over $850,000 in scholarships. And these scholarship amounts range from $1,000 to as much as $50,000, and they range from students from a particular school going to a particular school, studying a particular thing. And in this room today, it's kind of cool. We have 4 of the winners of the Mark Holtzman Scholarship. I'm going to ask them to stand up when I mention their name. Amrutha, I'm going to work on this. Amrutha Veeramatchaneni, who is attending the University of Pennsylvania Dental School. Alicia Rodriguez Feliciano, in the back here, at Widener School of Law. Emma Archer at Thomas Jefferson Sidney Kimmel School of Medicine. There's Emma back there. And Adele Candelaria Vega at the Wilmington University School of Law. So it's such a lovely thing. Some of us get to go to the scholarship awards ceremonies, but it's really nice to be off. Students come here and have you all say hello to them and get to know them, and they're all very impressive. And while I'm at it, you all can sit down now, thank you. Just serendipitously, one of our newest scholarship funds, with 2 new funds, was created by Mike Koziski, who's sitting right here at the table. And we're thrilled to have Mike as part of it. Okay, what else? Healthy Communities of Delaware, I talk a lot about that. It's also a unique program in the country, a partnership with the University of Delaware the State Department of Public Health and DCF, where we work with the communities with the lowest health outcomes in the state. We're now in our 5th year providing support to organizations that are building solutions that are based in their communities. And we have continued to do that, and we have seen communities build more capacity, build more safe streets, build more programs for kids, and that has been an exciting thing. Every year, we bring new ideas in, new people with new thoughts about their funds. This year, we opened 64 new funds, from agency funds to legacy funds to scholarship funds to donor advised funds to field of interest funds, every kind of fund we have. And every one of those, created by people like you, is supporting the community now, and most of them for years to come. We have a lot of new staff people. Staff raised your hands before, but raise your hand again, just to say a number of new folks as we've evolved. And I will also add in thanks to the other board members here. I see Lynn Evans standing in the back, and Dan Cruz over here, as well as Drew. And I think that's all the current board members who are in the room. Am I missing anybody? I'd get in big trouble if I do that. Downstate, we were really excited this year to open our Lewis office. And if it's on the corner of Savannah and Cedar, right across from the Zwanendale Museum, a cute little brick building that's about this big. And so, but it's perfect for what we need, and Mike DePaula and Jess and Kelly work down there. And it's just one big room with a couch and some chairs and some tables and a fireplace. And we can do small events and meet with donors and meet with nonprofits, and we are thrilled about that too. We were sad to sell our office in Georgetown. Of course, we've been there for over 20 years, and we can no longer host a Return Day event because we no longer have the office. We held that until after Return Day this year because I wanted to do one more Return Day. We launched this year the 6th season of our podcast with a new twist. The first 6 were audio only, and we titled them Building Opportunity in Delaware. This year, under Robbie's guidance and Mari Pack, who helped lead the work somewhere, there we go. We also made it a video series, and we retitled it How to Not Kill Your Community. And there's a book that a fellow, Doug Griffiths, wrote called 13 Ways to Kill Your Community, and it's a way to talk about things that matter in community. And so we use that little clever hook to bring people in and say, well, why do we care about libraries? Why do we need to fund libraries? And among the guests, Jamar Rauming and Jill DiPaolo talked about libraries. Mariah Calagione talked about philanthropy. We talked about housing. We talked about listening to people with whom you disagree, with Congresswoman Sarah McBride and other things. It's kind of cool. I think it's really nice. And if you listen, you can just listen if you want. But you can also watch it on where you like podcasts. Okay. So it's in many ways been a very successful year, but of course you don't need to look very hard to know we're in a very difficult time, an unsettling time, a disorienting time, and sometimes frightening. And changes seem unceasing, and uncertainties are pervasive and affect all of us. And for those of us focused in the civic sector, community needs, the arts, education, and the foundations of our democracy, the disquiet can be overwhelming and sometimes even paralyzing. But as with any time of change, we can't do nothing. And there are a lot of ways we can think about this. We're working with our colleagues to shore up support for key infrastructure and help folks like the food bank. And we're talking with state leaders about how we can partner with them on different approaches. And for us, we are also focused deeply on what is going to happen in the future and where are we heading in the future and how do we think about new solutions. Just because the current system is untenable doesn't mean we should return to the way things were. A friend who works at the intersection of the environment and health recently said to me, I've spent 20 years criticizing the EPA, and now I find myself defending them. That can't be the solution. I want something better. Marcy Harris, who leads something called the PopVox Foundation, likens our situation to a hurricane. After a hurricane, she argues, we shouldn't try to recreate exactly what was lost. Instead, we should build a better community with stronger homes and more thoughtfully placed schools, parks, and shopping areas. And that metaphor speaks to me. What do effective mental health programs look like, and how are they funded? How can we provide housing to the most needy? And what's working in substance abuse prevention, in outside of school programming and job training? What does a stronger democracy look like? How can we improve it? Not merely revert to old models, but new models that engage more people and have more people feeling like they own a piece of the system. We didn't ask for this moment, which is upending so many things we care about, but we need to seize this chance to develop new approaches. We need funding, of course, but we also need to look closely at which organizations are doing the most effective work, what healthcare models work best. And the answers don't come from any one of us. The federal government, state government, academia, and philanthropy, they all have a role to play, but I believe it's the local communities and community organizations that are really going to lead the way with new ideas, new models, and new approaches. It's time for a flowering of ideas and support for them. That's why we started a new grant program this spring that we're calling Meeting the Moment, to support nonprofits by providing necessary flexibility and breathing space for innovative thinking. Our goal is to provide grants for organizations to think about how they will thrive in this new era. It's clear that we hit a nerve too. When applications closed last Friday, we saw 175 requests totaling over $3 million. Now, the ideas are great. From merger proposals, to shared back offices, to new financial models, to efficiencies, better communications, and more. The question is not just what is happening today, but what our nonprofit infrastructure and our country can look like in 5, 10, and even 50 years. We believe it is our responsibility to advocate for a society that not only survives today's challenges, but emerges stronger, more democratic, more resilient, more equitable, and more compassionate. We didn't ask for the moment, but the opportunity to do something now, new and great, is right in front of us. Yes, help people today, but also help nonprofits and community organizations do what they need to do, figure out great solutions. We're excited about what we're seeing and daunted by the eagerness of our colleagues. And a bit of an aside, it's worth noting that grant programs like this are why we at the DCF are also engaged in a new large campaign to raise more discretionary dollars so that when things like this come up in the future, we have more resources to give to nonprofits and communities. Some of you are already part of that work. Some of you are volunteering. Some of you have donated. It's not a public campaign at this point, but it's ongoing, and most of you will hear about it at some point, and we're excited about that. We're excited about all of the work we're doing, and we're excited about this work. And in spite of all the stress, we are absolutely bullish about where we can go. When we hosted Bob Putnam, author of Bowling Alone and Our Kids and so many other books earlier this spring, he started his talk by saying, well, we're in a pickle. And indeed we are, but we're going to come out strong. New ideas, new models, and new energy. So thank you for your partnerships, your ideas, your leadership, your financial support of DCF, and of so many other causes of the state, and thank you for being here today.